Hey, how's it going there, folks? Welcome back here to a Friday night. It is the Earthmaster here, April 26, 2024. It's about 7 p.m. California time, 9 p.m. here in Kansas. Latest activity shows some movement with a five-pointer coming into the Indian Ocean down here. They're looking at a pretty decent amount of earthquake swarming going on. The USGS showing a handful of them, including the five-pointer that just came in a short time ago. And now this is the area of interest out here, 5.0 and a 6.0 coming into this area of the New Amsterdam fracture zone, or one of these fracture zones out here. These are oceanic fractures here. Some of those may be strike slip, some spreading seafloor center. Either way, that tells me right there that things are on the move here across this area, across these two plate boundaries in the Antarctica area and the Australia region here, seeing the potential activity right now. Let me see what we got from the EMSC real quick. These guys may show a little bit more of the ongoing activity. Looks like there's been at least 4 earthquakes here, and on this map you can kind of see the fracture zones out here. Kind of neat, all across the oceanic crust. And a visual inspection here a little bit closer. It looks like there's some type of volcanic feature out here just south of the area. 5.0, 6.0 earlier today. Handful of smaller quakes in there as well, 5.2 and a 5.2. Those earthquakes there in the purple circles are the most recent earthquakes. So we got a 5.2 and that 5.2. Two 5.2s, okay, within the last hour. And this just kind of kicked off earlier this afternoon. Definitely building up something out here. A lot of times this area does see some earthquake activity, but it has been more across this area northward. Let's see what we got for the last 30 days of activity out here. There's that northward activity across the mid-Indian Ridge, quite a few fracture zones. It almost looks like a zipper out here across the area, but that's creating some new land out there, making the planet a water planet once again. So here's our newer activity. Most of the older stuff up here and also down across Australia. This area has been lacking, kind of a seismic gap zone, so starting to fill in a little bit. As far as the subsequent effect of this activity, could see some further movement up here across the Java Trench area and areas across the Australia plate here that could be an area of interest here in terms of watching for some potential movement. Again, we've got about 4 earthquakes in that area, fairly recent. Some movement across Taiwan once again as well, with a 5.4, 5.7, and a 4.8 in there from the USGS. Let's go check out the EMSC model here and see what these guys are reporting. Last 24 hours of earthquake activity shows about 7 earthquakes or so in this area, including the 5.7 earthquake struck earlier today. So still seeing some movement here. I got my eye here on the Taiwan area because it has been moving quite strangely here recently with the ongoing earthquake swarm. It has stopped completely for a day or two and then kick up out of the blue in a intense sequence here of quakes, so I still think that there's a probability of seeing something much larger out there in that region. So that's an area to watch pretty closely. Far as the rest of the globe, 4.0 out here in the Turkey area, it looks like. And let's see what else we got. Some movement here around Papua New Guinea with a 5.1, just east of there actually. It looks like it's around the Solomon Islands area. 5.1 coming in earlier this morning. Let's take a look here at the last 30 days of earthquake activity. You can see if there's any areas that may be lacking some movement. Obviously, the Kuril Islands has been an area of interest here recently, for a while actually, because it's been showing nothing, not a whole lot of earthquake activity, and this is a major subduction zone. We've seen a lot of deeper activity here into the underneath the Sea of Osk area, 5, sometimes 600 kilometers deep in this area, so that's adding further strain up here. Just a matter of time before the Kuril Islands decides to put out a big one. But far as earthquake activity down here, there's a little region, a little seismic gap area around the Fiji area, potentially up north here as well. We do see some earthquakes up here that are lacking earthquake activity in the last 30 days. So it's possible we could see these things fill in soon here with that dry spell that they're seeing. It should pop up here really soon. As far as the Kilauea volcano goes, that's an area of interest right now as well. Looking at some earthquake activity here across the Kilauea summit. And let's go ahead and take a look here at the volcano hazard site. Still having some issues with them whenever I visit their site for whatever reason, but it's working now. Okay, sweet. Kilauea volcano still sitting at a yellow and advisory. Let's go check out the page here, and then we'll talk about weather. Some unfortunate, pretty large tornadoes out there today. Deformation here. Deformation data underneath the summit region will give us a good indicator of what's going on as far as the intrusion, right, or the inflation there at the summit. We have taken a nice, very sharp rise here in the last couple days or so. See all that activity pointing up to the north, or at least pointing up here on the graph. That's a sign of further inflation. I think this thing is getting ready to maybe potentially have an eruption here. We got to watch earthquake activity as well, because that is a key indicator of some magma movement right here. It looks like, obviously, with pressure underneath the area, we'll see earthquake fractures above the magma region and the surrounding areas. Definitely a handful of earthquakes out here, as noted on the U.S. or on the USGS seismograph station here, but also on their webpage itself. It shows quite a bit of earthquake activity in that region. So an area to watch definitely around the summit area, possibly out here across the southeast rift zone, southwest rift zone. Of course, that's where we've seen all that magma displace a couple months back from the summit off here to this area. And it just kind of didn't disappear, but it really just shot down there. And there had been no further effects, no earthquake activity, no unusual movements down here following that intrusion. But now we're starting to see the summit region rise back up. So I think we're getting close to seeing an eruption out there across that area. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. All right, California, got a little clustering going on up here, Northern California. That is the Cascadia subduction zone, 26 kilometers deep or so, the southern end of this subduction zone. So 26 kilometers into that area. I have a feeling we got tremor out there. Let's go check out the tremor and see what we have. Well, it's kind of a little shocking. Zero epicenters of tremor here today. I don't know if I'm a little early or not. Maybe they haven't updated it, but that is what they're stating there. All right, Bay Area of California, handful of earthquakes up and down the Calaveras Fault. As far as Southern California goes, really not seeing any major swarming going on, no unusual activity. Really not a whole lot of large-scale movement right now across the West Coast. If we look at the 2.5 map and above, well, that takes away pretty much every single earthquake there on the map except for a 2.8 down into the Baja California area earlier this morning. Yellowstone National Park, looks like they're having a little bit of earthquake activity up there still. I just checked that map out. Let me refresh this, make sure I got the most recent update. And it does look like things have kind of mellowed out here. There's some of the earthquake activity from this morning. Now, if you're wondering about this blue line, the thickness there showing up across the northwest corner of the park, well, I believe that is wind. So on that note, I'm going to double check the windy map and see what we have out here. This is the wind gusts and the surface map readings out here. Now, in the Yellowstone area, is this the wind gust? Let me double check and make sure. I think it is. Yeah, wind gusts. Does show some areas out here seeing some wind gusts. Really not a whole lot. But remember, some of these areas in the higher regions may have a little bit more of a higher reading with the wind gusts. But let's see what we had earlier, about 12 o'clock or so today. Looks like there's some out here across the area. But that's what it looks like. As far as wind goes, not all of the stations are picking up, but definitely looks like some type of outside interference. Does not look like magma movement. But as far as the earthquake activity in general, things appear for now to be calming down slightly across that area. All right, the rest of the country still seeing some movement out in Texas and a little bit down here into the Louisiana area with a 2.7. Across New Jersey, nothing showing up here on the map for now. The rest of the globe there, seeing this earthquake this morning was a little bit older quake, I believe, from last night with that 5-pointer. Let's go check out Iceland and see what's going on. We're getting close to seeing an eruption there in that area as well. Well, another eruption, I should say, because we're still seeing the ongoing eruption here across this area, northeast of Grindavik, outside of the Svartsengi region. Got about 12 earthquakes here in the Grindavik, or in the entire Iceland area. Not a whole lot here in the region of the ongoing activity. But let's go from the live from Iceland. I meant to do live from Iceland. There we go. And see what's going on here. Obviously, still got one big crater vent out there, continuing to supply this area with some beautiful lava fountaining. That's going to change here, I believe, rapidly, or maybe a new area may open up here very soon because of the ongoing inflation here across the Svartsengi area. This update was put out this morning, and still talking about magma accumulation underneath the area, how it's approaching about 10 million cubic meters here and continuing to rise. This is the latest chart here that shows our current ongoing inflation chart. These are the past inflation charts, and the star indicative of when the eruption took place, right around the peak magma inflation level. So we're getting up there, very close to some that we had seen here in the past. So even with this ongoing eruption there across the area, we could see a further push of further magma into that magma tunnel right now, where we're seeing that ongoing eruption, or we could see a new eruption within that region somewhere else, new fissure activity opening up. Alright, let's check out space weather activity here, see if Solar Ham is back up yet. I don't think they are. They are not. So, while Kevin is down, we'll go to the spaceweather.com site. Looks like there was some auroras, and they claim as predicted. I wasn't really expecting much from that, but it does look like there was a little bit of auroras kicking up there into the higher latitudes up into Canada. Here's the current aurora oval. At least I thought I was going to check it. There we go. Very minimal conditions as of right now. Really not seeing anything major going on there. KP index right now looks like of a 5. Well, that's in the last 24 hours. Right now it's 2, so things have quieted down. So during that 5, KP index at 5.33, that's when we've seen the elevated aurora conditions up there across Canada. But since then, things have calmed down, folks, and that is a good sign, right? Well, I mean, if you like the auroras, we definitely want to see things kick up. Let's see what else we got here. Where is the that's not the one I want to look at. Hold on a second. Severe weather. I wanted to see storm reports. I don't know what I did with that. Today's storm reports. Let's see if I can key that up there. No. Oh, come on. Goodness. Alright, so this is for today's activity. I'm sure you guys seen on the local news, national news and whatnot, of some huge, very large tornadoes out there in Nebraska, near Omaha, right? If I remember right.
Yeah, Omaha.
Omaha area. These are all the areas that got some decent tornado activity today. We had 70 reports of tornadoes, and some of those you've seen on the videos out here, rather large, doing quite a bit of destruction. And it was, there was definitely some tornado watches issued out here. They were forecasting it, and we did have some tornadoes down here in Texas as well. Storm Prediction Center, I think, did a decent job of giving some warnings out. Hopefully the loss of life is limited, and everyone took heed to the warnings that did take place out here today. But that's 70 tornado reports. That is incredible. It's pretty much a tornado outbreak. And again, there'll be more information on these tornadoes as far as the size when they go out to look at the damage that was done here probably tomorrow. But goodness, so that's, it is that time of year, and we do have some more severe weather in the forecast here for tomorrow, Saturday. Almost a repeat setup of what happened yesterday, but yesterday was, a lot of thunderstorms. We did have one little rope tornado up here outside of the Kansas, Colorado area. But tomorrow, I think we're going to see a little bit more of a potential for tornado activity. Here's the expected areas of tornado potential. Of course, you can be in the 2% zone up here in the green as well and see a tornado. But the most likely area, the most dynamic regions where all the ingredients come together to create these tornadoes are within this 10% hatched area. And that is where you could see a 10% or greater probability of an EF2 to an EF5 tornado within about 25 miles of a point. That includes some major population areas of it, about 7 million people. Well, over that, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Wichita, Kansas, and Lincoln, Nebraska. That's a pretty huge threat. We're going to be down here in Oklahoma tomorrow covering some of this activity. We took a break today. I'm kind of glad we did, because those were some big-time tornadoes out there, and I didn't feel like traveling that far east. Something told me not to go out there today. We just kind of cruised around the Kansas area, looking at some beautiful small towns out here. But tomorrow we'll be covering this down here locally across the area, and hopefully everyone will be safe, right? Because it's going to be the weekend. A lot of people are going to be home with their families. If you are, make sure you bring out your weather radio. Keep it on all day. We're going to have storms firing up early in the morning, throughout the afternoon, and intensifying throughout the night, with the tornado threat increasing as well. Let me bring up the tropical tidbits page here, and I'll show you guys real quick this area, this line that's going to be kicking up real quick. South Central, here's the GFS model. I like to run the NAM 3KM model. This is the ongoing activity right now tonight across northeast Texas, and scooting over there to the Arkansas area. So about 9 o'clock in the morning here, local time, central time, we're going to have a line of storms beginning in Texas, around the Panhandle, shooting up into Oklahoma and intensifying throughout the afternoon. Look at that, with the threat of tornado possibilities. Now, there's a huge jump right here between activity. Look at that. It tells me right there that these have not loaded all the way. And that's unfortunate, but as you can see, definitely looks like that line will intense, and it's only going to get worse. That doesn't actually disappear like that. There's going to be a huge developing line, and will continue to get worse throughout the evening, and bring in that large hail and tornado threat. We'll get a little bit more specifics on this tomorrow morning, but again, they're going to start firing up roughly around 9 o'clock or so in the morning. So this is going to be an all-day event across that area where you're seeing in this line right here, covering a good portion into Texas, Oklahoma, and as you can see up in Kansas area as well. The low pressure centered over northern Kansas. Most of the tornado threat should be limited around this area here. A lot of people like to chase and watch for tornadoes very close to the low. Tomorrow's going to be a tough one. It could go either way. We'll have to check out the forecast in the morning and see if they've updated anything new. But In the meantime, folks, I'm going to jump off here, try to go to sleep. I got to get up somewhat early in the morning so I can prep myself for the storm watches there tomorrow in the Oklahoma area. So just be safe. If you're out here, man, there's so many friendly people. We stopped at so many towns out here in Kansas, and stopped there at Dodge City. Beautiful town, a lot of history there. Missy Mimi's absolutely loved it. And, got to make sure these people are prepared for some severe weather out here this week. And the best thing you can do is make sure you have your weather radio, or at least an FM radio station, local station on that gives out the advisories. Most of the phones out here, the cellular phone, sends out emergency alerts anyway, as far as a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado watch or whatnot, tornado warning. So weather aware is key tomorrow, folks. All right, I'm out of here. Have yourself a good night. We'll catch you guys back out here in the morning. We'll take a look at some updated weather maps. And until then, have a good night. Enjoy your Friday night. Say bye, Missy Mimi's.
Have a good night, guys.
Take care, folks.